Nice to meet you.
There you go. I'm Ryan.
Nice to meet you, Ryan. Thanks.
Here's some cards. I'm not sure who I... It's dirty. All right, it's 1 o'clock, and we did put out a public notice, and since there are 3 of us here, we will have the tape recorders going. We'll take some notes, and we'll make sure we have minutes of this. We'll call the meeting to order at 1 o'clock on January 27th with Commissioner Steve Hoffmeyer, Dave Walton, and Sean Merrill, all present for the outbrief by the State Auditor's Office. With us from the State Auditor's Office are Spencer Bright and...
Ryan Montgomery.
Thank you, Ryan. Ryan Montgomery. And we'll turn the floor over to them.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming. This is the exit conference for the district. For this year, we conducted a accountability audit for fiscal years 2011, 2012. We'll go over today. We'll go over the results of that audit and go over the draft accountability report, so you kind of have an idea of what that entails. For the packet that we've provided, we have a exit conference agenda, the accountability audit report, and one management letter that Ryan will be going over shortly. So if you could take a look at the accountability audit report within our packet, I'll go over that real quick. If you can turn to page, it has page number 1. It's at the bottom. It's 2 pages in. It's called titled Audit Summary. This just discusses our audit. Talks about what the report, it contains our results of our accountability audit, as I mentioned, 2011 to 2012. It discusses the areas that we reviewed. This particular audit, we looked at the aquatics club, the financial condition of the district, the running club expenses, and disbursement and credit card purchases. The results of the audit in most of the areas that we reviewed, the district did comply with state laws and regulations and its own policies and procedures. However, we did note in certain matters that we have already communicated with district management, and that's in a separate letter, as I mentioned, that Ryan will go over shortly. If you turn over to the next page, page 2, this discusses a related report. During the audit period, our office issued a similar report on reviewing potential misappropriations. And that report is available on our website if anybody wanted to download it and review it. If you turn the page to page 3, this is a description of the district. This just gives background information on what the district provides to the public, elected officials that served during the period up through current, and contact information. While Ryan was on site, he did go over this information to make sure that it's updated and current. If any of you notice anything that's incorrect, please let us know. The report will probably be being issued next week. So if there's anything that you notice, please let us know, and we'll make sure to get that changed before it's issued. And then on page 4, on page 4, this is just the audit history. We audit the district every 2 years, and it just gives, we reported 1 audit finding in the past 7 audits. And in 2004, we issued a finding related to cash receipting, which has been resolved. And that's pretty much what our accountability audit report will look like once it's issued. And if there's any questions, if there's no questions, I'll hand it over to Ryan.
Alright, so we'll go over our management letter recommendations that we have today, and that's this guy, looks like this, his management letter at the top. The first page is just a cover sheet, so we'll go to the second page. It discusses all the details. So for part of our audit this year, we took a look at some of the disbursements processes at the district. These include credit card purchases, compensation to employees, and things of that nature. And based on our review, we found some issues here that are bullet pointed out. I'm not going to go over each of them in detail too much because there's a lot to discuss here, but I'll hit some of the main points for you. And if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to interrupt me as I go through so we can discuss. All right, so the first issue here we noted, actually the first 2 bullet points, we identified some purchases made with credit cards and some employee reimbursements that were either not in compliance with the district's policies or there wasn't adequate documentation to determine whether the charges were allowable. And also moving on to the third point here, we found there's basically some clothing that was purchased, and this clothing wasn't sent to the district, it was sent to a different address. There were some other instances here where we found that the district's credit cards weren't in compliance with policies. Some of the limits established for the credit cards weren't in compliance with district policies. Credit card agreements weren't in place with some of the employees who had been given credit cards, which is required by your policy. And then the second to last bullet point there were about $51,998 in charges during the audit period that were made using the former director's credit card while he was not employed by the district. And again, this is something that's not in compliance with your credit card policies. And then finally, the last issue here relates to the payments to the interim swim coach from about December 2012 through March of 2013. And here the coach was paid a salary and some reimbursements for housing and mileage. However, there wasn't a contract established to discussing the compensation and period of employment. And so going forward, what we're recommending here, the bullet points listed at the bottom, just ensuring that there's processes in place to ensure that disbursements are made for only allowable purposes and are in compliance with district policies. That all items purchased with district credit cards are actually received by the district. And credit cards do not include cash advances, which aren't allowable under state law. And then finally, that contracts are in place with interim employees to establish the public purpose of all compensation that's paid to them. Are there any questions about any of these items? Or?
You guys can feel free to ask questions if you want.
So I guess we'll move on to the other recommendations we have, and that's going to be in our exit conference document, which looks like this. And on the second page, so the back of the first page, we have those listed. And again, these are recommendations that aren't included in our audit report. We're just sharing them here with you at our exit conference. And we'll also be following up on them during our next accountability audit as well. So the first exit item we have relates to report filing. The district didn't file their annual reports with our office for 2011, so we're just recommending that you do that. The next recommendation relates to the aquatic club. We followed up on some of the recommendations that were given in our special investigations report in October of 2013, and we found that the district implemented a bunch of new processes to address these weaknesses that we found. However, there was just one weakness that sort of remained from those recommendations, and that was basically that we're recommending there be sort of a second person that reviews adjustments that are made to accounts receivable adjustments in the system, in your accounting system. So just a second set of eyes.
And that's with Team Unify, correct?
I believe so, yeah. Yep. All right. And then we also took a look at some of the procurement activities at the district during the audit period. Specifically, we looked at a roofing repair that was in August 2013 and a pool heating system repair in December 2012. And we identified a couple of instances of noncompliance with state laws and your own policies here. And so you can take a look at those. If you have any questions, feel free to jump in and interrupt me.
Can I just ask real quick, when those are not in compliance with the law, why that isn't a finding?
We have a process. We consider a bunch of different aspects related to how we report. For example, determining on how pervasive the issue is. We have program managers within our office that they monitor issues within particular districts and determine how it's reported across the state, so that, say, on the west side, an issue is reported at this very high level, where on the east side it's being reported at a lower level. So we combine all of these considerations and talk to our program manager, and then we can we report as an office as a whole, very similar across the state. So there's a lot of thought process that goes into it. Has it occurred in the past? Many considerations.
The initial report said they were in compliance with the law, but this says they weren't, so that's why I'm just wondering if there's a disparity there. For instance, I know in that issue there was no even notification of the contract award and some of those things. So.
Our report says in most instances, we found that the district
Got it.
complied.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And then I think for the last exit item recommendation we have relates to the running club. We took a look at some of the running club activities, the accounting records, the bank activity, and found that the activities were being sort of accounted for outside of the district's accounting system, main accounting system, up until about April of 2012. And basically what we're just recommending here is that the district ensure all financial activities of all these athletic programs are being adequately monitored, reconciled with the district's accounting records, and operating compliance with your policies.
Similar to the report we got back earlier.
It's similar, just a smaller scale.
Smaller scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Thank you.
Yeah, and also for part of our audit, we followed up on some of the audit recommendations we had in our prior accountability audit, and we have the status listed there. And just a couple of concluding comments we have for you. Some information about report publication. Our audits are posted on our website, our audit reports. Your next scheduled audit is scheduled to be conducted in 2015. Will again be an accountability audit. We've also got your estimated audit costs listed there as well. And again, that's just a preliminary estimate. And, finally, we'll also be sending out a customer service survey to the district, and we appreciate any feedback you have for us. I think,
Just a couple more areas that will affect the district. Our office is going through an organizational change right now. Our Team Bellingham office will actually be taking over all of the Oak Harbor audits, so will be different contacts in 2015. It'll be from Team Bellingham instead of our Team Everett office. And also our audit manager, Casey Dwyer, this is her last week with the office. She's leaving, and so we do have another audit manager that has started. She was one of our assistant audit managers, so there won't be much of a change in processes on our team. But the big one for the district will be that it will be a separate group of people coming in for the next audit. Any questions?
Yeah, you're on status prior audit recommendations, page 3, Open Public Meetings Act has an unresolved X. What was that previously, and I mean, are we in compliance now, or are we still?
So that related to, it was the purpose of some of your executive sessions. The stated purpose in the minutes wasn't for one of the reasons that was allowable under state law. So we verbally communicated. Basically, we found, I think, just a couple instances during the audit period where the stated purpose was not in compliance with state law. So we verbally communicated those while we were on site to the staff here.
Okay.
And oftentimes what that is that we've noticed is it's within the minutes it'll mention executive session for personnel issues, which may or may not be an allowable reason. So usually the RCW has specific, that's generally what it was, and I believe that's what it was here for the district also, was that they probably just mentioned for personnel issues instead of maybe like contract negotiation or something, just a little bit more information in the minutes to show that it was for one of the allowable reasons.
That's good to
No. Any questions?
If we have questions on this, we can contact you. Just to resolve any
Oh, absolutely.
areas we're uncertain about, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. We're always available to answer questions. On our website, we have a client help desk that anybody in the district can submit questions through. It's without cost to the district, so that's always a very helpful tool to utilize for any like financial reporting or anything that you ever have questions. But yeah, you have Ryan and my email addresses, and it's probably the best way to reach us as email is because we're not in the office that often. So
No other questions? Well, thank you both for your time.
Thank you so
And for all
much.
the time you spent up here, appreciate it. And I'd say we'd see you in 2 years, but we won't. So thank you.
hopefully our team will take the audits back, but right now it's just the Bellingham team.
Because it is an open public meeting, we called the meeting to order. I need a motion, and for the minutes, Kirk Huffer walked in about 5 minutes into the meeting, so 4 of us were actually present. So since there are 4 of us here, and we did call the meeting to order, I'm going to need a motion for adjournment before the 4 of us can leave. I have a motion to adjourn from Steve Hoffmeyer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Kurt Huffer. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.